Hello, this is Drew Mahan with Cloud County Community College. This is the College Skills Project Career Connections. We're trying to get first-time freshmen to understand and see what Cloud alumni have gone through during their education path and their career path. Today we have Mark Ewing with us. Thanks for taking some time out of your schedule. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and your education path through high school and college.
I grew up in McPherson, so in the great heart of the Western wilderness, I always say, in McPherson. And I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to Cloud County for my freshman and sophomore years. Ended up my athletic career as a junior and senior at the University of Kansas, and actually finished up my degree in radio, television, film communications with a minor in finance from the University of Kansas.
Wow. So what interest did you have in that certain career path with broadcasting? What kind of sparked that interest?
I think what really sparked that interest is that was something I wanted to do, and I literally was 5 years old. It's really strange to think of it, but there was a time when, before the internet, where you could barely hear the radio, and my enlightenment to the sports world was really not television, it was really radio. And my dad and I would strain to listen to K-State and KU basketball games. I just thought it would be a great career, so I put myself on that path very early. It wasn't inspired by anything other than this is what I want to do, and I knew it very early. I put myself really narrowed on that focus, and fortunate, I was so determined to do it that I was able to do it. It was great.
So what opportunities did you have at Cloud in that world, and then also at KU?
Well, one thing, KVCO radio, the interesting thing was before I even got to the radio, I'd already taken my first opportunity. I made my broadcast debut, believe it or not, I was 14. I was 14 years old and was able to do a baseball game and was able to meet the general manager in town of the local radio station. It certainly wasn't a big deal or a big operation, but really it set me on course. And by the time I actually started college, I was a veteran. I'd already had 4 years of experience from everything from news, weather, sports, running a desk, understanding how it kind of all puts together. And I was pretty experienced, and that was a really, really good start. And then KVCO helped launch me the rest of the way, learned some skills, and then just kept up with it throughout the entire part of it. And then, of course, I went to school. I got interested in the television end of it and kind of took it off from there.
So as you went through the communications department at KU, what was that transition like from the small town junior college to the big university?
Pretty enormous. I would also tell you that you got to be a confident individual, and I think I could have been easily overwhelmed for sure by the complexities and environment a little bit. But I was really confident. I really believed in myself, and I had people around me that believed in myself. And I think the one thing that also really set me forward, guys, said you got to get an internship as soon as you can between your junior and senior year. And as I was playing basketball, so it certainly wasn't easy to do that. But I got an internship with KWCH, which is Channel 12 in Wichita at the time. And I'm telling you, it was just I had such a news director. It was such a great teacher and took time with me. And I would tell anyone that's on a course for something, try to get an internship in whatever you can do. And if it's 6 weeks or 3 months, do it. If it's paid or not, don't worry about that. Just get your foot in the door. It just absolutely opens the experience. You meet so many people. It's vital. If I had not had that internship at KWCH TV, despite all the other things that I had done, I would not have been able to launch my career as successfully as I was.
Well, and it seems like that career path, the broadcasting, it seems like there's a lot of giving people. Kind of similar, I think, to my experience that I had with coaching, is that there's so many people understanding the path's not easy. You got to take your lumps on some smaller jobs before you get some bigger jobs. But some of those mentors that meant a lot to you throughout your career, what challenges did you face when you got into the career that you wanted, and then you still had some challenges ahead of you? How did those mentors help you out?
I think the one thing that I heard that, and that's a great question, because I will tell you something I did on my own, and just hearing advice, was I paid attention to everything. I had a really good mentor at the University of Kansas that said, hey, make sure you understand the business. I know your talent, but talent meaning facing the camera, but make sure you understand the business side of it. So I would, no matter what I was a very curious person. So I would always ask a lot of questions from engineers, from salespeople, from general managers, all the things that go into running an operation. And as it turned out, that was a great thing because I went from being a talent running a sports segment and a sports department to running an actual television channel. When I went from Channel 13 in Topeka to running Cox, I ran the channel. I was in charge of it. So I went from 5 minutes of a sportscast 3 times a day and to an entire channel. And I was able to adapt because I knew what I was doing, because I had asked so many questions about engineering, about finance, about how revenue is made, about promotion, about marketing, about social media. And I just had asked so many questions that I was ready to go. So I would tell you as a word of advice for everyone that gets into a business, don't have your focus so narrow that you're just in charge of what you're doing right now. Expand your horizons, be very curious about what other people are doing. It also helps build relationships and helps build your standing within that organization.
No, I think that's great. I've heard from a lot of different alumni in that continually learning, and that process doesn't end when you get your degree, that they're still constantly absorbing information. Some of the nursing students put it the best: if you're done learning, you're out of the business, and I think that really just gives so many more platforms and opportunities. You've got a minor in finance when you're at KU, right? So your career's transitioned a little bit. Tell us about that as you're branching out to some other areas.
I have, and I'll be quite frank about it because it happens. But when I had a terrific job for the cable company in Wichita, and my position was eliminated. It wasn't a great surprise because I knew change was coming. But instead of moping about it and worrying about it, it's going to happen to all of us. I mean, it's just part of life we live in right now. That I knew that, hey, I need to refocus my efforts somewhere else. What can I do? And as it turned out, Edward Jones, with the company I currently work for, and I had some continuous conversations. They said, hey, and this is kind of how they put it to me, and because this is a certainly different career than what I was doing. They said, hey, we have a lot of book smart people that understand finance and portfolio construction and how things are working. But what we really want in you is your people skills and how you're able to communicate with people and bring them to the table and be able to talk to them about your current career. So that was a great move for me because that's always been something I thought was a strength of mine, was my communication skills with people of all ages and all races and all genders. And that's what I have for clients. So that's been a really big bonus. It also makes me very thankful that I always didn't limit myself to that one skill, that I asked a lot of questions about finance, and the fact that, I personally started when I was literally 12 years old of doing my own investment portfolios, and being interested in that has been a humongous help. But I never would have guessed that I would be doing right now what I'm doing. But I am a financial advisor from Edward Jones. I'm licensed. I sell stocks and bonds over to people in retirement, and 100 other things involving finance on the personal side. And it's a really, really great career, but it is a shift from what I was doing, and I really, really enjoy it.
Well, I think that's important since you came from the athletic world, and since we have so many students that are here kind of driven through some activities or scholarship activities, that road's going to end sooner or later. You're not going to be able to play ball forever. Some of our kids have professional aspirations, but you need to always have another plan and be able to be more valuable than just your certain position that you're in at that moment.
I would tell you also something that you're talking about, Drew. It also opens opportunities just in athletics, because you're going to meet people, and I think that's really important. And another word of advice I would say: do not be shy about introducing yourself to everyone you know. Cloud County's got an incredible alumni base, a great support base, and I still see tons of ex-Thunderbirds, current Thunderbirds, people that are connected with the university. It's just amazing. I was only at Cloud County for 2 years, and I still have a really good base of friends that I met along the way that are very successful. And like I said, always treat people well, because you will meet them somewhere down the road. That's the way it works.
Well, that's awesome. We had a former Thunderbird that also chose to go down the broadcasting route from Walmigo, and his name is Kyle Doporalski. So he was here in the early 2000s, did some radio and broadcasting stuff for New Mexico State, but now he's an assistant athletic director at North Dakota. So that switch from broadcasting into an athletic department helped him kind of look at a certain skill set and bridge it. We had another student that was here last year from Minneapolis, Kansas, and he got really big in the broadcasting and radio, and he wanted to get connected. Well, I had a former cross country and track runner. His grandpa is Don Free, who I'm sure you've worked with a few times.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I connected him to Don, and they met in Manhattan, and, you know, he's going to be able to kind of give him some advice and some help. But I think you'd be a great resource for any of these other, you know, financial students, any of these broadcasting students, just to be able to give your life advice. So I appreciate your time.
You bet. Well, yeah, I'm very pleased to do it, and I wish you all the best with this project.
I think I have one question that we didn't quite touch on, but, you know, at this point you've transitioned a few times in your career, but what are your future goals now?
Well, you know, I think one thing that's always consistent is my effort and hard work. This is you know, it's a tough profession to be in, but I always want my clients to be able to say, and the people I work with, obviously, at Edward Jones, to say, hey, he works really hard. Because that's the one thing you can control, your hard work and effort. And sometimes it doesn't always go right. It's not always going to be perfect. But, you know, the one thing I've learned from, you know, the coaches I've had, Coach Erkenbrack included at Cloud County, is, you know, it's resilience and being able to bounce back, getting off the floor and getting back after it again. That's a huge part of any career. And it's really huge in finance as we're going through COVID-19 and all the things that have happened on Wall Street involving that. It's just a big part of it. You have to have a really good mental attitude about a good sense of humor, just taking it as they come and being able to reset. So my goals moving forward are really just to, you know, work hard and see what opportunities there are, and work for people and continue to do what I've been doing.
Well, I think that's important that you kind of kept your options open and still keeping opportunities open. Some people, like Jim Dunning, we just spoke a little bit ago, he said some people are getting so narrow-minded in their skill set that they don't see anything else outside of this small, narrow window. And if he was going to do that, he would still be a teacher and not in the career profession that he's in now. So I think that's a great lesson to learn.
I think it is. I think that at the end of the day, I think you got to be a person that's very happy with what you're doing, and I think that's critically important. It's always been more important to me than the salary I make. It's kind of who I've surrounded myself with, and do I believe in what I'm doing? And right now, I do believe in what I'm doing. I see it work every day. So that's a really, really important thing. If you're in a situation that you feel like, hey, it's kind of a roadblock, you know, open your mind. The opportunities will come. Be patient. And again, like I said, just get a reputation for working hard and being credible and believing in yourself. I think it'll take you a long way. I really do.
Well, I appreciate your time, Mark. Hopefully we get to hear you call some more state track meets this spring, and hopefully more Shrine Bowls in the future. But thanks for your time, and we'll love to have some Cloud alumni connect with you in the future.
You're welcome. Anytime. I look forward to that first conversation with a current or previous Cloud County student. That'll be great.